How do you handle slackers in a group project? In my first year of college, everyone in my course was pretty much a deadbeat, but one stood out more than the rest. Someone I like to call Deadbeat Daniel. He was literally the definition of useless. On the first day, Deadbeat Daniel came in and started lighting up a cigarette in the middle of the lecture. And when the teacher started tweaking out, he put out the cigarette on the wall and claimed it was fine in his old school. And because it was a ghetto community school, he was allowed to stay enrolled. And it's not like I was a try-hard or anything, but I did somewhat care about my grades. So when Deadbeat Daniel would scroll on his phone in every lecture with the volume on, it ticked me off a lot. And just when I finally trained myself to ignore his existence, we were forced to work on a group project together. I'll spare you the details, but everyone, including me, handed in our work just minutes before the deadline, with the exception of course, Deadbeat Daniel. He handed his part in 2 full days after the deadline, which is literally insane, considering that we each only had 350 words to write. Something in me told me to read his work, and I'm so glad I did, because I immediately recognized it from a Wikipedia page that I had read. Copied word for word, no changes. I pinched the bridge of my nose and took a deep breath before calling Deadbeat Daniel. I knew asking him to rewrite it would be too much, so I simply asked if he could at least change the wording on every 3rd sentence. Bro, do it yourself, bro. I already played my part and submitted. Don't call me again. I thought about every cigarette he put out on my book bag, every coffee he spilled onto my desk, every time I nearly gagged from how awful he smelled. My body was immediately filled with hatred. I texted Deadbeat Daniel and told him if he didn't step up, I would tell the professor how much of a crappy group member he was. And instead of actually doing it, or even just texting some sort of apology, Deadbeat Daniel sent me a threat. He said he would tell the professor that I was the one who didn't do anything. I stared at his message for a few minutes, and my thumbs danced over the screen debating what to say. In the end, I ignored him and went to the professor. I told him everything, hoping for some kind of punishment, but he just nodded and told me to get out because he wanted to go home early. I was so taken aback that I didn't even argue. I just left. When the results came out, Deadbeat Daniel got an A and I got a C. Go figure. After that, I never heard about it again, until a week later, that is, because that's when the professor finally called me into his office. I felt a rush of excitement as we both sat down. He told me he had found out about my plagiarism. He said my essays were being put under academic review. My heart dropped. I asked him what he was talking about, and he said he had found out about my true motivations to frame Deadbeat Daniel. But now, my facade is over. I buried my face in my hands. I had trouble keeping myself from bursting into tears. That's when my professor let out a deep belly guttural laugh. "I'm just busting your chops, boy. Daniel is expelled, not you. You should have seen your face." I stared at him blankly, feeling more relieved than celebratory. I guess I was just happy it was finally over. Without Deadbeat Daniel, lectures were smooth sailing. My grades went up by 300%, and life was great. I managed to transfer into a university and graduated with a 3.9 GPA. I had literally become the definition of turning over a new leaf. I even lost my V card and got a girlfriend, all in the same year. But then, as I walked into my internship orientation with a big smile on my face, I wanted to commit suicide, just like in 8th grade. Because who did I see? None other than my Deadbeat Daniel, standing there with a smile that inflated even more as soon as he saw me. He knew what I had done, and he was ready to bring his worst. I don't have time to finish the story in this short video, but it gets intense. Click the link or go to my channel to watch it.